Good evening. Welcome to the April regular board meeting. Yesterday was a new landmark for 2019, meaning that income tax deadline is now passed. Friday, Passover begins. Sunday is Easter. And Monday, April 22nd, is Earth Day. And that's an important day to think about things, especially from a utility standpoint. This is a day envisioned to recognize that many more than a single species should be able to exist here on our planet. Ensuring that other species, even those that have no direct economic value, including predators like gray wolves and lowly pollinators like solitary bees, will benefit the ecological system and benefit humans as well. So something to focus on next Monday. So I'm Anna Marie Pavlik-Rosen, Chair of the Frankfort Plant Board. To my right, Walt Baldwin, Vice Chair. Don Hale, Secretary Treasurer. Steve Mason, Member. Jeff Bradshaw, Member. And our legal advisor for the board, James Liebman. So our first item of business is approving minutes from the April 2nd special board meeting and also the March 19th regular board meeting. Have people had a chance to take a look at those?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 19th and April 2nd.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our next item is the March financials.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, good evening. I'd like to start by giving you just a little update on some housekeeping items. As you know, we have an annual audit that we're required to have, and the board has agreed to retain Crowe as our auditing firm for the year. Last week we had a meeting with them, annual planning engagement meeting. Everything went well. We kind of go over and look at different questions they have and seeing how the years went. We'll be having Crowe come in for our interim field work the week, about 3 days, May 13th through 15th. Then they'll be on site here for our field work the weeks of August 5th and 12th. We plan on having the board report, the audit report, mid-September board meeting like we did last year. It works really well. We have to have that report to submit for our bond continuing disclosures, so that'll give us plenty of time. That disclosure's due in November. So that just wanted to give you a little update on that. Also, we are full steam ahead on preparation for the budget for this next year. For the board, the next big timeline is, we've got it on our budgeting schedule to have our draft to you by May 21st, and that will give us 2 full weeks for the board to look at it, talk about it. And of course, we can go over and talk about anything you want anytime, but just want to let you know that we'll have the audit report, or I should keep going between the budget and the audit, the budget report to you May 21st. I'd be glad to talk about those anytime throughout the week between now and then as well. Looking at March, I'd like to just flip over to page 17 of our board packet. There's not a big change. Statement of net position through the first 9 months of the year. As of March 31st, 2019, line 65, the plant board had just under $180 million in assets. And as we mention each month to our customers that are tuning in, our property, plant, and equipment, of that $180 million, $116 million of that is in property, plant, and equipment. We are heavily invested in capital assets and no different as of March. So no big changes in assets. Liabilities the same. Not a big change from what we talked about from February financials. Total liabilities of just over $94.5 million. Most of the increase from year over year is due to our pension liability that is out of control of the Frankfort Plant Board. So things in our control we definitely have been paying down. And if you look at our net position, we take our assets minus our liabilities. The restricted and unrestricted investments of the plant board as of March 31st, 2019, line 160 of just under $85.5 million, bringing total liabilities and net position to $180 million. I'd be glad to answer any questions or field any comments on that position. If not, I'd like to go over our required cash and investments report. This report shows us where we were as of March 31st. As far as our cash holdings and investments between restricted and unrestricted. Looking at line 80, our restricted and unrestricted cash for the period was $22.446 million. Looking at restricted and unrestricted investments, Line 135 of just over $14.5 million for the period. I'd like to flip over to the bonds, leases, and loans payable report on the next page, 19. We started the fiscal year out with just under $42 million in liabilities related to debt, bonds, and leases. We've paid down $4.2 million for the first 9 months of this year, bringing us to just over $37.7 million. And like I mentioned in prior meetings, we're on track to substantially reduce that in the coming year. So nothing different to report on that. And I'd like to quickly talk about the financial performance for the first 9 months of the year. I'm looking at page 21, which is the statement of revenue, expenses, and change in net position. This is our company-wide summary. It's similar to income statement. Looking at our operating revenue, line 20, just under $77.2 million. Between electric, water, and cable revenue, we're very much in line with we were a year ago on all three lines of business. You take from that our total operating expenses for the year, line 50, at just over $53.4 million, giving us a gross contribution, or what we call for-profit entities, of gross margin of just under $23.8 million. You subtract from that our general and administrative expenses, totaling for the first 9 months on line 280 at just under $17.2 million. Other income not related to direct operations and services we provide, other revenue, line 350 of just over $1.8 million, gives us a net contribution of just under $8.4 million for the year. Like we do every month, I've got in here each divisional income statement plus budget to actual and comparative for each of our administrative divisions, a summary of all of our cash balances, and check registers for our two main active checking accounts for the period. But we're on track from where we thought we would be this time of year, which is a good thing. We have a lot of big projects, at least one large substantial project in each division coming up. So it's looking good through 9 months. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have.
Sounds good. Looks like things are going well. Okay. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to accept the financials?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Okay. Public comment. Doesn't look like we have anyone here for public comment. So we'll go on to departmental reports. Cable.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Adam's out tonight, so for a few minutes. Looking at your customer service penetration numbers for March of 2019, same trends that we've seen all year. Phone and video are down, but year over year, but actually, if you look at it against budget, we're doing better than we had anticipated, so that's good. Broadband's also a year over year budget. Trouble call is pretty straightforward. We're down in year over year, and the last report is your information. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
That's good. So March customer service report.
Good evening, members of the board. For March, we added 173 new accounts, took in 4,733 calls, 1,358 walk-ins, and 6,853 cashier transactions. The other thing I wanted to mention in the board meeting was that the customer portion of budget signups has started for our customers. That's been made live on our portal, so customers can now sign up for the annual budget billing that we have, and that runs through mid-May for Cycle 2 customers, and Cycle 1 is up and running now, and then May is the reconciliation month for all customers who are on budget. Happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
On the reconciliation, is that usually that they owe us a little bit more, or more often that we owe them, or?
It's probably split.
Okay.
probably about half and half. Some owe us and others have credits, and those show up for customers for May 1st and May 15th. So we start notifying them March and then again in April, just to kind of remind them that, hey, May is the month, so it's coming, so they can start to look at those balances and be prepared for that.
That's good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, electric report.
Good evening. Electric report starts on page 95 of your board report. And you'll see our SAIDI number there is at 70. If you go to the next page, our biggest cause for outages this past time was wind. So we had a pretty good windstorm come through. I think it was on the 14th of March. If you go on back to the last page of 98, you'll see our top 10 outages, and they all happened on the 14th of March as well, and they were mostly wind related. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. SEPA report.
Yes, Madam Chair and Board. Your SEPA report begins on page 99, and you will see for the month of February, we are at a loss of $12,047, and that brings us for the calendar year total. Excuse me, we were down $29,212, which brings us to a calendar year total for the first 2 months of $12,047 in the whole. For the month of February, the average energy price was $7 megawatt hour decrease from January's average price. That caused part of the issues. And then some of the maintenance items that they were doing at some of the different dams reduced our energy allocated for the month by half. So you'll see that reflected in the report. That reflects some of the changes that we saw. And then on page 101, we have the life-to-date benefit that SEPA's been to our customers of a little over $10 million. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have on SEPA, and if not, I would like to talk a little bit about our Network Operations Center.
Okay. Sounds good.
Fine. Darren Rambo is here, and Darren is the director of our NOC, and so this week, well, I'll let Darren tell us all about it, and I won't try to steal his thunder.
That's it. So he was doing fine, he's right. Yesterday, actually, our NOC went live. So there's been a lot of, I mean, you know better than I how long this has been discussed and how long it's taken, and every one of those staff people out there have given tremendous effort and helped us get there, or we wouldn't be there, trust me. There's been a lot of work. But we finally got most of our staff hired. We're still one short. We're finishing up. But it started yesterday morning. Their shift started at 6 a.m. So we're 24/7 now. So our customers and the citizens here know that when they call to hopefully report a problem, they'll be getting someone, right here within the company, within the plant board that can help them and that is familiar with town. So we took, I think, 3 or 4 calls last night, which is good. I was just about convinced there would probably be an unprecedented hurricane or something the first day that we opened, but it wasn't. It was a good, smooth evening. And as we move forward, we'll work out all the bugs and, keep building. But I'm cautiously optimistic. What about that?
Yeah, I would like to say that Darren has done a great job pushing and making sure everything we needed got done. The IT department has done a lot of work to make tools for us to make that work. So I want to say thank you to them, and certainly all the employees and staff, like Darren said, have all come together to make it happen. Anytime you make a whole new department and try to bring a whole new operation back up, we haven't had an internal network operations center for many years, so it was really bringing it up from scratch, and it was quite a big lift. All the employees are really excited to be able to provide better service to our customers, and certainly we think we're going to be able to do that, so we're excited about it. I would just ask the public to be a little patient with us because it is a new department, and there are invariably, when you're doing something that ends up being that complex and that many pieces, there's going to be little hiccups, but we certainly are working on that feedback loop and correcting those things as we go, and hoping every week we get better and better.
Okay.
So we're excited to be up and running.
Oh, that sounds good. So the outsourcing that we had from a place in maybe Ohio, we've completely ended working with them?
No, we've still got that on for another, is it a month maybe or two?
Yeah, there's a cancellation clause in there. They're not taking any calls for us right now. We're doing it all in-house, but we'll
Safety valve.
I see.
In case we had an issue technology-wise, especially in this first few weeks, we wanted to make sure we could roll it back off if we had to.
Okay.
But that's the only reason that's still in place right now.
And then I did talk to the operations person at the electrical building, and he said how he would miss actually seeing line workers go out and seeing more people. Is there, how are we addressing, contact with other people, actual workers?
You mean by being in this building as opposed to over there?
Right.
It's not. Obviously, as we take the calls at night, we're going to have really almost constant interaction with those folks. We do all day, either by phone or by radio.
Okay.
So shy of looking out the window and seeing someone you might know, there's pretty much constant contact with them. I mean, it has been, all day today, up until, me speaking to some of them 5 minutes ago. And that's a good thing, because we build that rapport and that relationship, because they know who they're talking to, they know who took the call. So I think it will be even better.
Okay.
Chairman, I would like to add a little bit. I think, the difference is we have a 2 employee 24/7. No matter it's a weekend, night, or the holiday, there's always people available for customer. The second is actually long term we are looking for. They're going to do beyond just emergency call. It will be the extended arm for the customer service. So we could happily to announce someday they can be a full service, means the customer can solve most of their issue even in the middle of the night or weekend. That's the unique part, I think we can see what happened to the customer.
Okay. So it sounds very positive.
Along those sort of same lines, not really with the knock, but I just wanted to comment on the great job I think it's Charlie Bob Burnett and I guess Kathy Lindsay did over the weekend with the outage on the west side, the Facebook comments. When people commented or had a question, they were there and answered people's questions for them, which I think the public liked, being able to get the answers. And I just thought they, did a great job, not during regular business hours, in responding to our customers. And I think that really does a lot in the community to help people like the plant board. And so I just wanted to thank them for doing the great job that they did then.
Very good. Okay. Thank you, Darren. Okay. KyMEA.
Member of the board, the KyMEA, the things happened last month is we had a FERC preliminary decision on the DEPARTMENTAL the case in front of the Federal Energy Regulation Commission. One way to look at it is we do secure almost 10 years protection under the preliminary ruling by FERC. So that's almost the majority part of saving potentially we can realize for our customer for next 10 years. But we have to be really cautious to talk about that, because there could be rehearing, could be potential lawsuit. So we need to have a time to say finalize the result. But the preliminary decision is in favor of the KyMEA for next 10 years at least, we can see that. I hope that would be end up a customer saving to our customer. Yes.
And I guess the other thing happening with KyMEA, it'll be after our next board meeting, but their annual meeting will be in May 22nd.
Yes, we actually sent the notice to all the board members, the schedule. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Safety.
do have one OSHA recordable to report. We had a cable installer trip and fell over a curb and strained his hand. We thought it was a fracture, but it wasn't. So he just was off or on restricted duty for a few days. Any questions?
Pretty good. Water distribution.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the board, water distribution report can be found on pages 105 through 107. We had 4 main breaks and 2 outages, and work is continuing on East Main, so be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Sounds good. Okay. Water treatment, Julie.
Good evening. Our report is on page 108. In the month of March, we treated 238 million gallons of water for the month, averaging at roughly 7.7 million gallons of water a day. We had 3.2 inches of rain in March, and what is rather significant about that amount is that according to the National Weather Service, that was the first month since January 2018 we were below average in rainfall. So March was somewhat of a dry month, even though we had 3 inches of rain. Because of that, the river, if you noticed it, even up until this past week, had started getting low and it was starting to get that green color to it that we get in the summertime. So the flow over the lock and dam at number 4 was 14,000 CFS, just down to 9 billion gallons of water a day. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. Would this be a good time for? Okay. Before we get into the action items, we have a presentation by Wendy Kobler about bourbon on the banks. So Wendy, if you're ready, we're ready for your.
Sure. Thank you so much. Okay, wonderful. I have hard copies. I'm kind of an old school girl, so I like my hard copies too. So if anyone needs a leave behind or a carry out. So thank you so much. Wendy Kobler, serves as the Vice President of Institutional Advancement at Kentucky State University. It's a pleasure and a privilege to speak with all of you. Do I have any alumni from Kentucky State? Wonderful. Good to know. So we are working, if I could get this in slideshow presentation. Thank you so much. No, that's okay.
This should let you advance the
Perfect.
slides to left and right.
All right, so we're gonna go to this slide right here. When I came on board 10 months ago at Kentucky State University, I am a member of the Frankfort community. I am a customer with the Frankfort Plant Board. Taking a look at some of the assets we have in our community, made the decision that it would be viable and valuable for us to do more in our community to promote the $8.6 billion bourbon industry that takes place. I find Frankfort and Franklin County an exciting place to live, and I wanted to see us grow those resources and to put on an event in our community. And in addition to that, we are starting a new fermentation and distillation technology certification program at Kentucky State to meet the growing demand and needs for people trained in that industry at Kentucky State University. And so there's nothing better that brings people together than a festival, an opportunity for us to convene and to celebrate the great things that we have in our community. Hence came Bourbon on the Banks. Bourbon on the Banks is a community initiative to promote town-gown relationships and to raise money, as well as to launch the fermentation and distillation program at Kentucky State. So when we take a look at what makes our community great, the river, the capital, we also know that we have to drive revenue in our community, and we do that through economic development and overnight stays and tourism. And we've got to introduce new people and new businesses to our community. So we're going to be utilizing Bourbon on the Banks to do that. This festival is going to take place over 4 days, and while this is kind of hard to read, so there we go. We're going to start on Thursday night with an event out in the county. We have an award-winning aquaculture program at Kentucky State, one of the top 5 in the country. That program is going to be highlighted along with our student and faculty research at a dinner where we're going to invite the over 200 Japanese companies that are located in Kentucky and contribute 40% of the business revenue that is done in the state. We're going to showcase our aquaculture program, and we're going to, as I like to say, break bread. It's hard to raise money from people if you don't know them, so we have to build relationships, and so we want to build relationships with them. The Japanese invest in the communities. They believe strongly in a strong community partnership, so we want them to hear about the things that we're doing at Kentucky State. Then we're going to go on to 2 events in Friday. One is going to be a reception that's going to take place in the city, downtown Frankfort, at Riverview Park, right along that beautiful walkway. So, and it's about 1/3 of a mile walking trail. When I came into the community, I visit the farmers market a lot on Saturday, and one day I decided to walk up the hill or the levee and take a look and see what's on the other side. And I saw this gorgeous walking trail with the lone jogger and a couple of pieces of outdoor art. Art, to me, makes the community meaningful. It makes it even speak to people who are visiting. But I felt that it would be the perfect site location for us to do a festival. And then on downtown on Friday night, we're going to transform Broadway to Bourbon Street. We are going to, it's a little different than the concerts in the park. We're going to bring it alive. We're going to do lights. We're going to put couches out on the sidewalk. We're going to have street performers. We're going to have music. We're going to have entertainment. We just booked the 10th food truck to come. We have beverage sellers that are going to be sharing their wares and storytellers. We're going to hear from historians regarding African Americans and their contributions, specifically in Kentucky. Dr. Erin Gillum, who's at Kentucky State, does research on African Americans in Kentucky. She's going to share the story with our participants about African Americans and their contributions. Maybe many of you know of the Uncle Nearest story in teaching Jack Daniels how to make sour mash. But that is not a story that we've widely told or shared in Kentucky about the African Americans and their contributions. And then we're going to go to Saturday, which is going to be our ticketed event. And that will actually take place back on the river. We will have over 100 vendors. I just had our 20th distillery sign on, Peerless and Rabbit Hole, 19 and 20. In addition to that, we're going to also have other there's a big craft brewery market taking place, as well as wineries in the state of Kentucky. There's 117 wineries in Kentucky. So this is all big business. And we're going to introduce our community, as I said, to new people and new businesses to encourage them to come here and take a look and consider Franklin County their home. So that's a little bit about Bourbon on the Banks. The purpose of it, again, is to raise scholarship dollars. We have reached out to the Frankfort Plant Board. We are asking for services to be contributed. We're asking for drops. We're asking for Wi-Fi to be down in that area. We want to bring this community alive and make it exciting for people coming in. We anticipate at the free community event, the Bourbon Street on Broadway, that we're expecting 8,000 to 10,000 attendees. At the ticketed event, we are anticipating 3,000 to 5,000 attendees. I've been in touch with the governor. I've been in touch with his cabinet. The other important part of the festival that I can't believe I didn't mention is we are going to actually hold the first bourbon judging competition in the state of Kentucky. I've talked with KDA, I've talked with Kentucky Distillers Association, distilleries all over. We have never judged bourbon in Kentucky, and so we'll be awarding the Governor's Cup and the People's Choice Awards. I said I'd be brief and quick. Questions, input, it's like second nature to me, so if I left something big picture out, please feel free to ask.
I think when we talked a couple months ago, you had some ideas about how much tickets would be, what are ticketed events?
Yes, so the ticketed event is strictly the Saturday. It is a $65 ticket event. The reason this will be the most value-priced bourbon event in the world. The reason we have kept it at that is because we are very interested in that 25 to 40-year-old market. And if you're married and have a couple of kids, $130 is a lot of money to have a night out on the town. All included in that will be the samples, the food, and the entertainment. So we're going to have 5 entertainers. Also in the Ward Oats Amphitheater, we're going to have Conch Republic performing. They're the Jimmy Buffett Reunion Band. And so we're going to, all of that is included in the ticket price. So hearing from the historians, seeing what's going on. The free community event will be open to the community because we want everyone to feel like they are part of Bourbon on the Banks Festival.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope it's successful, and I hope for good weather, too.
And I'm taking care of the rain.
Okay.
August is the driest month. Just so you know, the farmers market is going to be hosting a special event that day. They're going to have live music. They're going to want one of our chefs to come in earlier in the day and do a chef collaboration. We have 12 professional spirits judges, 2 coming in from Colorado, 1 from Michigan. What is it when people come in from out of town, you think they're more of an expert? And we have a number of judges coming in from the Louisville area as well as Lexington. The bourbon judging will take place in a secret undisclosed location that might be the ballroom floor of Whitaker Bank. And they will be in there, and they will be actually for 2 days sampling bourbons to determine the Governor's Cup. So it's very exciting. We've invited the Japanese, the Consulate General out of Nashville to attend our Thursday dinner and to speak about the investment that they've made in our state. 47% of all foreign investment in Kentucky is by a Japanese-based company. The next highest would be Canada at 11%. So truly a community partner. There are 5,000 expats or people that are here working on visas in our community that are from Japan. So we're excited. We want to celebrate them and their contributions.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I've got hard copies. I'm going to leave them here, Kathy, and thank you.
Okay. Now we're up to date on another community event. We'll go on to action item 5.1, consider award bid invitation 1671 for truck customization to J. Edinger and Son for the amount of $46,641.
Good evening. Staff prepared a bid for a custom utility body to be installed on a 2019 Kenworth chassis that is currently on order. The truck was $72,439. A Hippo power unit is also on order for this truck, and it's $50,850. The bid for the truck customization includes installing the power unit. The Kenworth chassis and the Hippo unit are due to arrive in May, and purchasing the chassis separately on a government contract was less expensive than bidding. The utility body needed is not available on a contract, so a bid was issued. So we sent the bid to 6 vendors and received 1 response. After reviewing the bid, staff recommends awarding to J. Edinger and Son. They're the only bid that met specifications. And, well, they were the only bidder. This purchase is included in the current budget, and the total for the truck, the power unit, and the customization comes in under budget at $169,930, which is $30,000 under budget.
Very good. Do we have a motion or questions?
I move we award bid invitation 1671 for truck customization to J. Edinger and Son in the amount of $46,641.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So our next item, consider award bid invitation 1674 for a high solid silicone roof coating for the Telecom building to PureFoam roofing and insulation to the amount of $32,888.
The roof that's on the cable building is the original roof from 1993. It's a metal roof, and it has several leaks throughout. The leaks are mostly from seams, and after researching options, staff recommends going with a high solid silicone roof coating. This is a process of applying layers of silicone to an existing roof until the coating covers the entire roof surface. And the silicone roof coating repairs cracks and seams in the roof surface by filling them in, and the roof coating is UV resistant and reflective. It also deflects the sun's rays, helping to keep the building cooler in hot weather and better insulated in colder weather. And the benefits include lower energy costs, less leaks, easy maintenance, and a seamless surface. and this also includes a 20-year warranty. The invitation was sent to 6 vendors, and we received 2 responses. And we reviewed the bids and checked the references, and staff recommends awarding to PureFoam Roofing and Insulation. They're the lowest bid, meeting the specifications. And the roof's been leaking for a while, but the leaks have become worse in the last 6 to 9 months. So there are funds available in the current budget left over from the service center warehouse roof replacement.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll move we award bid invitation 1674 for a high solid silicone roof coating for the Telecom building to PureFoam Roofing and Insulation in the amount of $32,888.
And second?
A second.
All in favor? Yes, go ahead.
Is this an unexpected, this is unexpected?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So it's unexpected from the standpoint of the roof's been leaking for a while, but we found a vendor?
Well, it has just gotten worse, and we thought now's the time to move on it.
And you had mentioned there was some leftover money from working on
Yes,
the warehouse.
The service center roof was budgeted for $250,000. Is actually $178,000. So there's enough to cover the repair of the cable building roof.
Great.
So as a point of, when we do the budget, if we can get a list of all unexpected savings from projects. Sounds good.
And this unexpected savings happened this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're reusing it this year, or utilizing it this year. Okay. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed, thank you. So next item, consider award bid invitation 1675 for 2,000 kilovolt or KVA pad-mounted transformers to Brownstown Electric Supply in the amount of $37,472.
We issued a bid for 2 1,000 kVA pad mount transformers. The invitation was sent to 8 vendors with 4 responses received, and after reviewing the bids, staff recommends awarding to Brownstown Electric Supplies. They're the lowest bidder, meeting specifications, and these transformers will be used to replenish depleting inventory levels.
Any questions?
So was money in the budget for these? You planned for that?
Yes. Yeah, it's part of our capital budget. If you go to our capital budget, in our current budget, you'll see that.
Move we award bid invitation 1675 for 2 1,000 kVA pad-mounted transformers to Brownstone Electric Supply on the amount of $32,472.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Consider approval of Cable Advisory Committee appointment. Harvey Couch to help us with that.
Thank you. Staff recommends the board appoint Clay Baxter to the Cable Advisory Committee with a term from May 1st, 2019 through April 30 of 2022. Is needed to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of Larry Duke's second term. We advertised the opening of this volunteer position in the newspaper, on our website, on our Facebook and Twitter feeds, as well as Cable 10's bulletin board and on the radio. The promotion was done between February 14th and March 31st of this year. Staff received 2 applications for the position. Mr. Baxter has been attending committee meetings regularly for the past 2 years and expressed an interest in the position and an eagerness to assist FPB in their cable TV decisions. A copy of his resume is included for your review. There will be an additional vacancy in September of 2019 when Mr. John Paul's second term expires. Staff would also like to recognize Larry Duke's service to the Cable Advisory Committee. He served from 2013 to 2019, was elected chairman of the committee in September 2014, and served until his retirement on March 31st. We appreciate his service and his contribution to FPB and this community. Be happy to answer any questions you have on this item.
Is Mr. Clay Baxter here tonight?
He's not.
Oh, I was just wondering if he was. Okay. Comments or a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Clay Baxter to the FPB Cable Advisory Committee.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay. Informational items and general manager comments. That was a quiet month. Okay. Thank you. And any old and new business that we want to cover?
I have some new business. I would request that from the board that when we talk in public and represent ourselves as board members, that we make it clear that we are representing our own individual position on a subject and not representing the board's action if no action has been taken to direct the board to do one thing or the other. Last night when you were on TV, they took your comments to mean that the board had made an action to go to planning and zoning. And I don't recall an action here before us that where we had decided to do that.
I guess that's a good point. I guess I always felt that that was our goal.
Well, I would just rather that come from the body as opposed to any of us going and saying something that is, has not happened.
So do you feel it would have been better to not be there at all?
No, I'm not talking about your presence. I'm talking about the statement that you recommended that they take, you recommended an action, and they took it at least as if that was the board's action. And so I guess what I'm asking is that when we talk in public, our own opinion or whatever, that we say that we're talking as we are just giving our own opinion. We're board directors, but we're giving our own opinion in the case whatever we're talking about, because unless there's been an action by the board that says that we're doing that, we're going to do that.
Well, that's a good point. After years of working on this project, I guess we're all interested in making it move forward.
But I think Steve's point is well taken in that we haven't discussed it as a board as to bringing it back before the planning and zoning. So hearing it on Cable 10 as it's a done deal, I think gives the wrong impression.
Okay, good point. So I guess again, I ask the question, do you think it's better that I not attend those meetings?
No, in my opinion, I think you can attend the meetings because after you gather a lot of information that firsthand and any nuance stuff that was going on firsthand. So I don't have a problem with you being at the meeting or talking about whatever we talked about. All I'm saying is that when I talk to anybody about the plant board, if I have a position, I say this is my own personal position. This is not the position of the entire board. My position on this is whatever it is. So I preface what I say with that. So, but as far as you giving your opinion or what you think, being at the meeting, I think it's probably good one of us was there for that.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Request permission to have the chair call a closed session. Move to call a closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101C to discuss pending litigation regarding reservoir construction.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Open session.
So moved.
I'll give you a call. Second.
And second? All in favor of returning to open session?
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
Friday, I'm
Second.
good.
Second?
Okay.
All in favor of adjourning?
If you have some time tomorrow, yeah, I'll be downtown. I'll check it.